Welcome to the Po1podcast. Let me introduce to y'all to a segment known as Power Within You. In this type of segment, I introduce and bring in guests on the show as they discuss their belief and ideas on how to move forward in life based on how today's society is affecting them and how they can handle it, and also conquering activity and not let it consume them. Plus, giving their power tips on their never quit attitude. So come and listen if you need tips to move forward. Let's get started. How to do, Renae?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm bringing on this segment to talk about what is your motive on how you keep moving forward for each day. Do you want to share?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
All right. So normally, what I would say that keeps me motivated is pretty much myself, and not just myself, but also like other people before me, like my grandmother and my mother. Like, they really motivate me a lot as well. And how I would say I pretty much motivate myself and how they motivate me is just by them showing me that, life is a series of choices, and also life is not really going to hand you anything. I don't consider myself to be someone who's very lucky, so I believe that everything that I want is something that I have to work towards. I don't feel like anyone owes me anything, so just having that mindset and just keep on reminding myself that as well, because even sometimes I get a little bit like demotivated if something doesn't go my way, but I just constantly remind myself that, listen, like, life doesn't owe you anything, and you're gonna have ups and downs, but it's just up to you to decide what you're gonna do. So I just pretty much do that. I remind myself, and there are days when you do get like kind of somewhat depressed about life, and it's not very easy to constantly feel like, oh, you're a go-getter, you could go for it. And in those times, I just honestly just try to like pray about it, to be honest. Like, there are days when I just like don't want to do anything, and on days like that, I just pray, and I just ask God for strength. I just ask God to help me to feel a little bit more motivated, and just help me to feel like I can do it. And those periods don't normally last. They're normally just there for a short while, and then I just have to remind myself once again to pick myself up and go, because no one else is going to do it for me.
That's awesome to hear. And I know,
yeah.
And you are a very, very good Christian woman. And let me ask you this. Anytime when you're in a dark place, how do you ask God to help you lead you to the path towards the light?
Well, I just feel like it's, I wouldn't say like I'm the best Christian, but I just feel like
Nobody's perfect, but yeah.
Yeah, but I just feel like it's just like just having a conversation, really, just saying, God, like, today I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling like myself, or I'm not feeling up to it. I just feel like life is just really trying to like throw me in a lot of circles. I don't know what to do, so I'm just asking you to. One thing I always ask God to do is order my steps, and when I say that, I mean just like point me like in the right direction. Or when I have a decision to make, I just ask God, like, hopefully whatever decision that I'm making, this is the decision that you want for me, or just create some sort of circumstance where wherever you want me to be, that's where I end up being.
Mm-hmm.
But just like, as I said, it's like just having a conversation, and sometimes it does make you feel better. Sometimes just speaking to someone, if you have someone in your life who, you could talk to as well, who you could say certain stuff to, then sometimes just like speaking to them about it, that will also help as well. So like, and to me, God is just like my confidence. So like, he's that person I go to like when I'm just not like feeling my best, and I could just talk to him as if I would talk to any other friend, and that helps me personally. And yeah.
Not and that is understandable. The thing, like, anytime when I don't want to go to church, like, you ever felt like you don't want to go to church out of the personal
All
reason
the
why? Yeah,
like I haven't been to church in so long, and that's why it's like very important to also have, as I said, a very personal relationship with God. So even if you don't go to church, or you're not in a place of worship, you can always still feel close to God by just taking a little bit of time just to talk to Him. Sometimes our lives get really busy and we don't have the time. Like me personally, I don't have the time. Like some days I just want to relax. I don't want to go to church. I don't want to do anything. But I still just try to remind myself that God is someone who is worthy of our praise. And it's not always about how you feel. It's just about like kind of pushing yourself, especially when you don't feel like it. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
No. Everything you said is absolutely right on. And I want to ask you another question. What is your don't quit attitude? Do you have one, or?
What is my don't quit attitude?
Yeah.
I mean that's my don't quit attitude. Is like just doing what I need to do, because I have a vision for my life, and not just for my life, like how I want my kids, if I have kids, like how I want their lives to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I constantly think about that. So just thinking about that is like, yeah, you have to do that, because you have to create some sort of environment and some sort of life for your kids that you would have wanted for yourself. So that is something that I often think about as well. So just and as I said, like my family, my grandmother, like just seeing how hard they work, and just seeing like my grandmother has like 2 jobs. My mom always had more than 1 job, sometimes 3 jobs. Just seeing how hard they work is like it's like motivation to stay, if they can do it, I can do it. And it is my dream to create a life for my children so that they probably won't have to do that either. Like each generation is supposed to make the next one easier, and it has been that way, and I want to continue that trend and make the lives of those after me much better than mine.
I mean, yes. I mean, I too wish that I would have kids out someday. Like, if I had a son, I wanted to teach him how to be a better man than I was. And if I had a daughter, I would protect her with all my life and from all the dangers, and teach her about, what is right and what is wrong. And our parents, your parents, my parents, even our grandparents that we love and miss so, they did an excellent job on us, teaching us our wisdom, our guidance. And we are inspired by them. We don't admit I don't know. You admit to your parents that you are like their excellent role model, but
yeah.
I mean,
not often enough, but yeah.
Yeah. Anytime when somebody tells me who's your role model, who's your inspiration, I'd say, no, my father. I mean, he and I don't have like the similarity interests, but I see him as my role model, my hero, including my mother. Even though she can be a pain in the ass sometimes, but I love her with all my highest most. And I know she's gonna slap me for after hearing that comment. but yeah, it's our jobs. If we become parents, we have to make sure that our kids have a better future than we do.
Right.
Right. What else I want to ask you? How do you deal with discrimination towards you, like hatred towards you? Do you A, take it on, or B, ignore their ass?
Um, like what type of discrimination?
Like based on who you are, based on what you look, based how you look. Uh, like if a lot of people hating on what you got on, or
yeah.
yeah, like how do you deal with that? Like, do you ignore it or you just take it on?
I wouldn't say I take it on. More than likely, I would say I ignore it because, I just have this mentality that people are who they are.
Mm-hmm.
People can change, yes, but I just feel that a lot of people are who they are, and sometimes trying to fight or trying to change an opinion of someone is just a little bit too much work for me personally, and sometimes I really just try not to care as much as possible. Sometimes I really don't care because it's just like I am who I am, you are who you are, and your perspective on life and my perspective on life, we may have similarities, and we're definitely gonna have different perspectives as well. But if you're dead set on what is right and I'm the opposite, I'm not gonna try to force you to believe what I believe. I'm not gonna try to force you to see everything from my perspective, because guess what? I'm just gonna be who I am.
Okay.
I'm not. I've just reached a point in my. I've passed the stages of wanting to fit in. I've passed the stages of wanting to, be liked by other people. So it's just I feel like my group of people who are for me will be for me, and people who are not for me will just not be for me. And I have no intention of changing the minds of those who are not for me to be for me. It's just what it is, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay.
I'm not obsessed with wanting to be with a certain group, because I feel like my group will just be my group.
Okay. But I got a deeper question. The words or the action that people display on you negatively, do you kept that as a reminder and just not only just to prove them wrong, but show them that, listen, that can't hurt me?
Well, kinda, don't get me wrong, people are gonna, say stuff or do stuff that are going to hurt you and are going to, hit you sometimes in a place probably you probably don't think it would have hit you. So I'm not saying I'm invincible. If someone says something to me that's hurtful, I'm going to be hurt. I'm going to feel sad. But I just try to go through it. So I let it affect me as much as it does, and then that's just it. I don't try to linger on it. I try to remind myself that whatever they said is not a definite definition of who I am. So I try not to let it get to me. Of course, it depends on what's said or who says it. It will affect you, will scar you. But I try not to dwell on stuff like that. And eventually, I feel like you move past things. As they always say, time heals all. I feel like that is absolutely true. So I just let time run its course and get over it. Did that answer your question?
That's you answered my question very, very goodly. Thank you. I got two more. If you want, if I'll ask away. Anxiety, and have you ever dealt with that before? And how do you push through it? Anytime life can be stressful, and sometimes you failed at something that you really tried the most.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
With trying, I remember when I was in Jamaica and I had this really important exam to do, and I did it, and I passed it, but I didn't pass it with the grade that I wanted to get. And I remember just crawling under my bed and just like crying my eyes out, and just crying because I felt like such a failure, and I felt like, you know, I tried really hard and I didn't get the result that I wanted. And that's just something I had to go through. And I feel like, because I just have this like new mindset, like, because I went through that, like whenever now, if I have something that's similar, I remember that, you know, you went through that and you're fine now. You went through that, and I wouldn't say it was for the better, but in like the grand scheme of everything, like that was just a very small, insignificant part of your life that is no longer important. So, I mean, sometimes your decisions are bigger than that, where whatever you did is still affecting you, but you just try to see how you could move on and try to correct that thing. Because what I did the next year, I had a similar exam. I crushed it pretty much. Well, not as much as I wanted to still, but did way better than, you know, the first one. And, you know, as I said, life is just a series of like choices, and you have to try to push through it as much as possible, and just believe that, you know, look for things. I don't want to say look for things that are going to happen, like bad things, but just know that if bad things do happen, like, you can overcome it. And that's a very hard like place to reach. But once you get there, like once you develop that type of mentality, I'm just so happy, and I'm just, you know, I'm happy that I'm seeing growth in my life, because previously certain things that would have happened would have devastated me. But, you know, I just constantly remind myself that I'm not obligated to have a good life. No one told me that my life was supposed to be perfect. No one told me that my life was going to be roses and wonderful. So whatever I get thrown is whatever I get thrown, and it's up to me to turn my lemons into lemonade, pretty much.
Okay.
In terms of like anxiety, like it depends like how bad your anxiety is. I can't really speak that much on like anxiety. I feel like I'm not like an expert in that field to really say like, oh, if you have anxiety, you should do this. I've had like some episodes where I feel like anxious, and I have had like episodes where I feel depressed, as a lot of people have. And as I like, when I feel like that, me personally, like I just try to talk it out. Like I have people that I could talk to about certain things, and they'll know what to say to help me. Like I have people who are not like me. Like I have, like if I'm not like super like in a mood where I'm super like cheery or anything, like I'll speak to people who I know. Like I'm not gonna just speak to anybody. You kind of have to be selective with people who you know is going to give you some sort of encouragement and some sort of upliftment. Like you're not just gonna go and just talk all your problems to all your friends, because everyone's different, and you know, not all your friends are always the right people to talk about the right things.
I mean, you're better than me on doing that. Because I don't know if you remember when we worked together, I really don't show a lot of smiling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though I say like I do smile, I mean if I'm working, if I'm on that job site, of course I'm not gonna smile, because you know, man, retail sucks.
And plus, the people that we used to work with were horrible.
Yeah, but I'll try my best to be cheery. I'm not gonna. Anytime I'm going out, I'll do my best to be cheery. I'll do my best to not bring like my negative side, to bring people down. No, with friends and family, they all want to have a very good time, like a great time, and just enjoy it, and don't be a grouch about it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, but also like go through your emotions as well. Like don't feel obligated to behave a certain way because you want to make someone else comfortable, you know? I mean, in certain situations, yeah, but I wouldn't practice to do that all the time.
Okay.
Let yourself feel how you want to feel, and be who you want to be and just experience that and live through that. And then, like, then you could, I feel like that would help instead of just like always trying to put on a face for other people. I feel like that doesn't like allow you to be your true self. Be depressed if you want to be depressed. Don't live in your depression. Like, if you want to, you're having a bad day, you just want to like just have a bad day, you want to sulk in it, go right ahead. But then tomorrow or the next day, try to tell yourself like, okay, I'm not gonna feel sorry for myself anymore. I'm gonna try to do something else.
Okay.
And, sometimes it takes steps.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
One small little thing.
One small little thing.
Yeah.
Even
I mean, as I said, like,
go on.
how I think now is very much different than how I used to think. So I feel like every day I find out who I am more and more. And I feel like that's really just the key, just to try and really know yourself.
Right. Absolutely. And also, one little step, don't rush it.
Yeah.
Each day, it's going to get better and better. Before
and
you...
even if it doesn't, know that it will.
Yes.
Like, even if you're going through a month of craziness, just know that this is, just try to tell yourself that. Even when you don't see the light. Even when the light is nowhere near. Just try to tell yourself. And I feel like that's where your faith comes a lot into it. I feel like if you don't have faith, then it's really hard for you to even think like that. But when you do have some sort of faith in whoever you believe in, that is enough to make you want to see the light eventually.
Absolutely. And I going by faith, I told many of my listeners that I go by this quote: I live by faith, not by fear. You live because if you don't have faith, you don't have the courage to take on to become or take on anything, or to be somebody that you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before you sign out, I just want to ask you, to ask the many listeners, what is your message to those who are like you and those who wants to, like those who are struggling to figure out what they wanted to be and how they, have like a righteous path to move forward. Like, shout out to the queens that you know.
Really, as I said, like, just having a mentality where you just know, that who you are, or you're figuring out who you are every day, and just knowing that you're just going to be yourself no matter what. And I feel like that will also lead you to have the right people in your life as well, because I've had a lot of people come and go in my life as friends. I don't have a lot of friends, and I'm fine with that. Even though sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I had like a bigger girl group, but overall I'm fine with that, because I know that the people that I do have here with me, are people who I consider to be good, and I consider to be caring and loving people. So I know that I could go to them with like certain things, and they're there for me. And I just encourage people to just try to find your authentic self, and let your authentic self lead you to other authentic people, because we really can't do this on our own. And if you are a Christian, or you are someone who is spiritual, or whatever it is, just try to find the faith and the hope in your belief. And as I said, just know that life like doesn't owe you anything. And I feel like just having that mentality alone, just knowing that no one owes you anything, don't expect anything from anyone, it will kind of help you to be a little bit more self-reliant, and help you to know that you have to really do it for you.
That's beautiful. Miss Renae, thank you. Thank you Thank you so much, okay?
Thank you for having me.
And I really do like your content on YouTube. Do you want to shout it out or?
Not really. I told you I kind of abandoned my YouTube channel, so.
Okay.
I mean,
okay. I understand. I understand. Thank you, Miss.
Yeah. If I choose to, like, you know, start up again, maybe, you know, hopefully you invite me back and then I could, you know, shout it out.
Only your time, okay? Thank you again.
Yeah. No problem.
Thank you for listening to the Po1podcast. And give out the shout out to my guests to share their belief of power to push to new heights and beyond. If you want to share your special power to motivate others, hit me up on social media, powerofones.com. If you want to be a guest on this show, let your word bring inspiration towards those that are in need of guidance. God bless, Godspeed, and remember, always keep moving forward.